Okay, everyone. So, we have an additional team, the ops team, who have rejoined us. But before we move into our next objective, which is communication, before you guys came in, we were talking about registration. I just wanted to really quickly see if anyone who was doing the reg activity has any registration questions before we continue. Just want to make sure I give you an opportunity to ask your questions. Oh, all good? Okay, cool. Let's move on then. The final objective for today is going to be communication. So in this section, we are going to be covering surveys, websites, emails, and we're also going to be looking at invitee management. So I'm going to hop right in. Let's start by looking at feedback surveys. Now, luckily, all of us were in here this morning. Most of us looked at registration, so we understand the site designer functionality. For those of us that weren't, your feedback surveys actually uses the same functionality as the site designer that we build our websites in. It also uses the same functionality as the email designer that we use the emails in. So to access our feedback surveys in our navigation panel within our event, I'm going to scroll down to surveys, and then I have feedback responses. FYI, responses are just where you're going to see the actual, I call it transactions, but each time someone goes in and answers questions, it creates a new response, and that's what you see as responses. I don't find them very valuable to look at as much as I find looking at an actual feedback report or looking at the person's record is a bit more valuable than looking at the responses to me. But I'm going to go ahead and select feedback surveys. Once I do, I'm going to go right ahead and say open the survey designer. But note, you can test your survey from here as well if you want it. Now, go ahead.
I don't have access to the whole list.
Oh, you don't? I thought I changed everyone's. It might
Yeah.
be. Let me try a bit more. Did you use a template when you created your event?
Yeah, I did the template.
Oh, okay. Well,
I didn't get any of the.
it's on the side. I use it to check those. I can't check. I can't figure this out. We'll check.
Thank you.
Surveys, right? So in my feedback surveys, attached to this template, we have two surveys, right? A general survey and a session feedback survey. In our navigation panel here on the left, if I scroll in, we can see our general feedback, our session feedback, our home page, and just like on the website, we can edit as needed. So for those of us who weren't here, really quick one-on-one on using these designers. Orange or purple, sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's orange. These are your sections. This is like your outline. For example, if I wanted to aesthetically design this different, I could have made this a two-column section so it reads like a newspaper, right? Each blue outline are your actual widgets. So for example, I can see this is a text widget because it says text. If I click into that widget, the build menu on the right is going to populate so that I can edit it and see what I need to see. It's a rich text editor, so I can, of course, make this bolded, underlined. I can even customize this if I want, and use our applied style to make it stand out to what we have listed as the theme. In my navigation panel, so Cvent navigation is always on the left. I'm going to hop into our general event feedback, and let's look at the gear icon for the settings. In the gear icon here, this is where we can see whether this survey is open to registrants or participants. And really important, when is the survey available? A lot of times, a few times, I've gone to clients' trainings and they've said we've created this feedback survey, our clients can't see it, our attendees can't see it when they actually go after the event, what's going on. A lot of times, they'll maybe have the feedback survey as event participants, but it's only available during the event. Meaning after the event is completed, maybe I can't take that feedback survey.
What's the difference between registrants and participants?
Oh, good question. So a registrant is someone who's just registered for the event. A participant is someone who you guys have actually marked as having showed up, whether
Oh,
that be
okay.
via on arrival or you just like marked it directly.
Oh, I see. Okay. So like we would call them no-shows if they didn't turn up to the event.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna have this just say before the event starts, just so that I can test it today.
Can you change from during to after?
Yeah, you can change this at any point. You can even change it while people are doing the surveys. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you could. All right, I'm gonna apply that. I also want to note the difference with the session feedback survey. So if I go into the session feedback surveys settings, similar but slightly different, I can see whether it's always available or only available at a certain time. Is it available to registrants or participants? And because it's a session feedback survey, I have to link it to a session. So I can either link it to several or a single session in the event. So I can say every session in the event will take this feedback survey, or I can say only certain sessions, select the session, and I can say this session feedback survey is only for my Cvent training workshop and my Spanish cooking class. With the others, I'm not taking feedback for those. It will then create this survey as if it were a unique survey for each of those sessions. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select apply. And that's my survey setup. We're going to talk about the attendee hub when we get to the attendee hub. But in terms of how your surveys in Cvent function, they function in two distinctly different ways. You can either send the survey out via email. It takes someone to the survey hub, which looks like this homepage that we're creating. It's its own website page where it will show them what surveys they need to take and they can take the feedback survey, right? Standard. The second way is if you're using the attendee hub, it doesn't go to them. It shows up right in the hub itself on the home page, or if they're in a session, it actually shows up in the sessions page while they're in the session. So two fundamentally different ways of people accessing your surveys via an email, sending it out, or if they're on the attendee hub, it's automatically going to show up for them in their session, and you can manually place it on the home page as well. Best practice is always to follow with a notification, which we'll talk about, on the attendee hub for your feedback surveys.
Good question. Sorry. Can we have multiple surveys, one before, one during, and one after?
So
I know it sounds like a lot, just
no, it doesn't. The reason no, it doesn't. So you can in Cvent you can, but the reason I hesitated is because each account has different organizations. Cvent infrastructure is different. So with the type of surveys that you currently have in your event, you only have that one general event feedback and one session feedback survey. However, other instances might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's why I was like, yes, but. There is a way though, maybe I'll circle down to this. There is a way for you to bifurcate your surveys if you wanted a session to be able to be used for multiple sessions uniquely with different types of questions, right? To your point. So if I go into my session feedback survey, the first thing I might do is ask you a choice question. I'll drag it across. Maybe that choice question says, which session or course did you attend? And then scrolling down, I'll give the options. I'll say I went to Cvent workshop. I went to the Spanish class. Give me with the caps. And let's say I went to lunch. Then what I'm going to do is bifurcate these answers now. So I need to create one sub question. So I'll create one sub question here. Let's make it a text question. And I will say, how happy are you with your speaker? I would have made that a choice question, rating question in real life, but I'm just typing. So once I've created that first sub question and I give it some logic, so I'll say only show up if you said you went to the Cvent workshop. If I had other questions like how valuable this is, do you see how this blue box is kind of taking up the whole space of the survey page? If I drag it up, you see now it's a little bit shorter. It's now a sub question versus if I left it down here, it's its own standard question, right? Stretching across its own question, short, it's a sub question. So I can drag this up for it to be a sub question now, and I can say only show this question to logic if you went to maybe the workshop and lunch, right? So if you wanted to use that one survey to collect information about different sessions and the questions are different, then you bifurcate. If you want one survey to collect questions from sessions and the questions are the same, then you just select that this feedback survey is for those two sessions. Does that make sense? That's to the, okay, great. So you would add your questions to your survey, self-explanatory. For example, I want you to rate something. I'll drag the rating question across. Let's have it as its own question. And then I'll say, how did you find the food on the site? I can make it required. I can give you emoticons or words if I wanted to. Maybe I'm not applicable. Maybe I'll say I did not eat instead of just not applicable. If I continue down, I can even say I want respondents to clear their selection. And this is one that we have a lot of debate about, to be very honest, with different clients. Some people say, I want you to answer, and I don't want you to be able to clear it because you've answered the question. I want to know what you thought. You might think I don't want to answer it, but I want your answer. Whereas we find like educational people say, I want you to always be able to clear it because you potentially answered that question incorrectly, and I want you to be able to edit the answer that you've given me. So there's different schools of thought on this, and I'm not going to tell you which one to use, but that's a debate that I hear a lot. Okay, I'm happy with the survey. I'm gonna go ahead and publish. So a note for you guys who weren't in the earlier session, publish takes the changes and makes it in the live survey if it were live. So these are the questions people will answer. Versus if I just save it, it's just saved in the backend in the survey designer and it's not showing as the live survey that people are answering when you send it out. So I'm publishing to make sure you see those questions when you actually take that feedback survey. If I edited the settings, I also need to publish as well, not just because I added a question.
Can I change it after I published it?
Yeah, as many times as you'd like. The only difference is, well, you weren't here earlier, but there's no version history in the survey designer. So you can change it, but you can't go back and say, oh, I want this previous version. Sending the survey out. So if I'm sending my feedback survey out, I'm actually going to do that via email. So in my navigation panel, I have my emails. Let's hop into our event emails here. Now you'll notice different types of emails. They're all configured in the same way. Event emails, think of all of your main emails, confirmation, event reminder, invitation. Session emails are emails that are specific to a particular session. So let's say we're having that Cvent workshop session and the day of the session, the room is flooded. So we can't use that room anymore. I want to tell only the people in that Cvent session to come to conference room C instead, right? I don't want to notify the entire event. I would send a session email because it will only ever go to the people who've registered in the session. Speaker emails for speakers, exhibitor emails for exhibitors. Planner alerts are emails for you guys as planners. They are one of the most underutilized features that when planners start to use it, they say, how in the world was I not using this? And a planner alert is one of those things that keep you up to date of certain things. So let's say I want to know if anyone says they have walking difficulties because maybe the venue only has one ramp. So I need to let them know where to find this accessible ramp, right? I can create a planner alert tied to the answer to that question. Anytime someone says they have physical walking accessibility issues, I get an alert that has all of their details and their issue. I could even tie that to an email and have them get an email automatically when they register, filtered to that question to say, hey, I can see that you have some extra needs. Please make sure you come to entrance X around the back of the event or something. And it can all be automated based on the answer to that question. So back to the emails. So each email will tell you the name of the email and to whom it goes and how. So for example, my invitation, manually, I have to click it. And it will only ever go to, let's see, only ever go to undecided invitees versus my confirmation or the event reminder, which is going to accepted registrants, meaning it will only show up to people who've registered for the event. If I was sending an email out, I'm going to go ahead to the manual send button. It then shows me everyone who is in that status of undecided. I would then select the person I want to send the invitation to, send email, and confirm. Right? That's how you send an email from Cvent. Let's talk about a scenario. Maybe I have sent an email, a reminder, or whatever it is, and I sent it a week ago. There's more people added into my event, and now I want to send the same email to the new people who've been added, but not the people who I already sent it to a few days ago. I'm going to go back to that same email and send again. But this time, I'm going to do an advanced search, and I'm going to say, only include those who've received or who've not received this in the last 6 months, and search. And now it should only give me one Brittany. There we go. And now I can see the other person who's not received this email, and I can go ahead, select, knowing that I'm sending it to the right person. That example wasn't great because it's Brittany's name that was there twice, but hopefully you guys noted that difference. And if I clear that search, if I clear the search, you'll notice we're back to the two Brittany's. Okay, back to those emails. I'm going to click the title invitation now. And this is going to give me the business rules of the email. So top right-hand corner, let's edit. And this is where I can do things like change the name of the email. I can change the subject line of the email. And this E-title, I've zoomed in, is an example of a data tag in Cvent. And this really is the powerhouse of your templates. This is how you create the event creation wizard. You put the information in once and it changes in so many places. So for example, if we look at this email here as built in Cvent on this side, this is how it will populate on the right when someone reads it. So E-title becomes the events title, right? C means contact, so it will become the contact who receives the emails details. P, you're not seeing here, P alerts are planner alerts. They will pull your details as the planner. We also have A tags with our account custom tags. So you can even create your own data tag. Maybe there is a vision statement for Smithers, right? And you want to make sure that everyone is using the correct vision statement. You can create a custom field with that vision statement. As a planner, I'm now using that tag. As the admin, you can change that vision statement at any time, and it automatically changes in my event and everywhere that I've placed that tag. So if we go back into Cvent and we look at this email, this is saying you are invited to Keegan's training event 2026, right? You should always read the data tags as they'll populate, but you can always change this and say Keegan's training event. We don't recommend it, we recommend the tags. And this is the universal sign-in Cvent for a data tag, the clear luggage tag icon. So I can actually come in, I can see my favorited tags. I can see the ones I've recently used. I can even see those contact tags if I wanted to see them. Okay, zoom back out. Continuing down, I cannot change the recipients, but notice I can change this manual email to scheduled, and I can schedule it to go at a certain date and time. I can even update the time zone individually. Notice as well, guys, this planner email address that we mentioned earlier is static. I cannot change it. It's still that drop down. So if you don't see the appropriate email, you have to send it to your admins for them to add it for you. Okay, let's go ahead and click design email. This is going to take me into the email designer, and just like the survey designer, just like the site designer, looks functions acts the exact same way, right? Navigation panel on the left-hand side. This is how I can navigate between those different emails. Like I want to start editing the confirmation. I just click it And now I'm editing that confirmation email. Undo and redo. Save and preview. View how it looks on different devices. Build is where we're going to get the content from. And theme, we're not really going to adjust the theme because that should be designed in our template, but that's what theme is for. So back to build, if I wanted to add additional content, right? Maybe I want to add some text. In my build menu, I'm going to grab a text widget, drag it across, and that blue line indicates where it's going to appear. I'm going to maybe pop it right here. And then here I'm going to flesh the text out. I want it left aligned. I'll see we are looking at that's the event. You can also copy and paste if you wanted to. If you copy and paste things in a specific font style or color, it will come across in that font style and color as well. If I wanted to continue through all the way down and click into this widget, this registration information widget, just like on the site designer, you can choose what is actually displayed in this widget as well if you don't want them to see certain bits of detail. Save that. And hit close. I'm not going to focus too much on the email bit because I think we know how to craft emails once we add a text widget in there. There's not that much to it. I do want to show you though, because we're going to talk about on arrival tomorrow. So in Cvent, I'm going to do this in a confirmation email. As long as you have on arrival turned on, and as a preview, that's the on arrival system back there. We'll use it tomorrow, but that's that check-in. Someone walks in, registers or checks in for the event, their badge automatically prints out. If you want them to have a QR code, so they've registered online, they walk up with their QR code and they can just scan and check themselves in autonomously at that kiosk. In your emails, you can add either the Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, or just a QR code. In the QR code, I always like to say name, email address as well. And then these are what they scan in that on-arrival device themselves to come into the event. I like the Apple Wallet because then it just goes in their wallet. They don't need to actually look for an actual email to scan in. Okay, let's save that. Just wanted to add that in before we move out of emails. So back down into the emails.
Sorry, just back on that question. Right? So the Google Wallet and the QR code.
Yeah.
If they have that, they don't need to open the app or do anything with the app.
Which app? You mean
The app for the event. Yeah, sorry, the attendee hub.
I don't want to give you a yes or no answer to that question because it depends on what you're doing in the attendee hub. So some people will use the attendee hub because they want them to have the app, and on the attendee hub, it also has the QR code automatically for them. So
They don't need it.
they don't need it for that purpose. But if you want them to participate in the event, then they would need the attendee hub event app, like checking in for sessions
Okay.
or the engagement features or anything like that. But no, they don't need it to check in.
Are you thinking about people who can't download the app, but they can still use the?
To be honest, I'm thinking if we don't use that and we're just using our old badging system, why do I need the app? So the hub. If I
Well,
could
it's
just,
the
if
hub
I,
is-
I see.
if I just need it, I'm playing devil's, a lot of our delegates, I gotta download another app. So if I got it on my Google Wallet, I don't need the app.
Yes.
I don't need to log into that. That's why I'm asking that.
Should I?
You don't need the app to register.
That's what I was
I
going
don't
to
see the
say.
app first,
Do you need the app on site if you want to do that?
if I want to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm asking that, just,
Can I just clarify? Because maybe I don't understand, but I just want to make sure. So I'm hearing two different things because we have two different apps. I feel like y'all are clear, but I'm unclear. So I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure that we're all talking the same thing. So we have the on arrival app, which is
Yeah.
what you use to check people in.
Yeah.
They will receive their QR code, scan that, never need to use the attendee hub. The attendee hub should only be if they're using that as a part of the event, not for check-in. So like they're doing engagement things or their agenda. Okay, clear,
Yeah.
same page. All right, I
Yeah,
just want to
sorry,
make just was hearing. I'm trying to.
gotta catch up with the right wording.
Okay, no worries. Just want to make sure I wasn't giving you all the wrong information and that was clear. Okay, we were talking about emails. Right, so with your emails, one thing to note is if I look at this confirmation, for example, all of your, I like to call them standard emails because you met them in Cvent. You didn't create them yourself. Your standard emails do not allow you to filter. So if I scroll down here, they don't give you the option to change the recipient. This is a reg confirmation email, right? But let's say you have a different language or content for the confirmation for your press versus your general attendees, or maybe your speakers has a different confirmation email. As is, the standard emails will go to everyone. If I wanted to have a different confirmation email, I can turn this one off, so I'll close this. I'm going to first look for that confirmation and toggle it off so no one gets that generic confirmation. Generic meaning it goes to everyone. And if I wanted to use that as a starting point, I can even copy this email. So actions drop down, I'm going to duplicate this email. And once you've duplicated an email or created one from scratch, if I scroll down, you'll now notice that you have the option to change the audience and you can add filters here. So here I can actually go in and say, I only now want this email to go to people on my wait list or no-show registrants. I want to create a new email for the no-shows, right? Or registrants who have a balance due. I want to send you an email before the event. So just remember.
That was a conversation we had upstairs earlier.
So just remember, those standard emails are great, but if you have another audience that you want to capture, you need to create or duplicate an email so that you can see those options in the dropdown. Not going to actually create the email, I just wanted to show you those options. Okay, let's scroll down and let's go into the survey email now that we kind of understand emails a bit better. So in my post-event emails area, I have my feedback survey email. So this is what we would send out for them to complete the feedback survey. What I want you to see is if I design the email, the survey is sent via a data tag. So you can actually cut this data tag out and send it in different emails. Maybe you want to place it on your website at some point. So behind this take survey button, you have the e-survey URL data tag. So if you wanted to, you could actually cut this or you don't even need to cut this. Let's say in my, it's not a great example, but I'm just going to put it in the reg confirmation because it's there. I can create my own button if I wanted to. I can say that. And then here, I can paste in that URL tag. I didn't copy it. So to get it, I'm just going to add it as a tag, the survey. And then there you can see all of the different surveys that they can have. I'm going to pull the survey URL. And I'm just going to cut it. Then paste it in here as the URL. And that's how we create that feedback survey button, right? One more thing that I want to show you with your emails that you might not know off the top of your head is how to add an attachment to the email. So I mentioned earlier that in Cvent, we don't have attachments, we have documents. That's our term for attachment. We saw the speaker document earlier. In the details tab, sorry, not the details tab, in the planning tab, we have a documents area. And this is where you can put all of the freestanding documents that you want to attach at some point, right? You have this in your event and you have it on the administrative level as well for Google documents that you guys want to use in general. I'm going to say upload document. I'm going to browse the file. Important is that when you do this, just make sure the file name is legible because that's what people will see when they download the file. And key is it an internal document or no? If I say yes, I am defeating the purpose of it being an attachment. It means no one can open this link outside of Cvent. An internal document example would be maybe it's the contract with the venue and you want to store it in your Cvent event. You mark it internal because if you accidentally send that link out, outside of Cvent, no one can actually open it. They click it, it's a dead link. They would have to actually go into your Cvent account, click it from within Cvent for that content to populate. So I'm going to say, no, it's not an internal document because I do want to send it out. I want people to be able to open it outside of Cvent. I've saved it. It now gives me this reference link. And if I copy this link and pop it in a new tab for you just to see, you see it just downloads whatever the thing is. If it was, I think, for Excel and PowerPoints, just download and don't preview for you. So now if I was
PDFs?
yeah, you can do PDFs. I think PDFs also I think PDFs open in a new tab, but yeah, you can do PDFs.
And can you can you download the documents without doing the survey?
Yeah, you can place a document wherever you want to place it.
Can you do it so you can't download the documents without doing the survey?
Yes, but you'd have to do it via email. So with I don't think you have this option in the type of surveys that you have, because we have different types of surveys, but there's an option with a certain type of survey where you only get an additional email if you have completed the feedback survey. So when you complete the feedback survey, you automatically get something.
Okay.
So they click submit on the feedback survey, they then automatically get an email. It's usually used in educational institutions. You do your survey, you get your certificate of education. But if you added the link, the reference link in that email, then you've gate kept it. That's the only way I can think of off the top of my head that you can do it. Okay. Did you say registering or attending?
I don't know what I said. I was just, because we send out our presentations after people complete surveys, we send out presentation.
This is what you asked.
So I was wondering if you can do the same, because we want them to do the survey,
Yeah.
but that system sounds great if we could do it that way.
I'll check and see later if you have that surveys and if not, there's something. Okay, so that's how you configure your emails. That's how you send your emails. Questions about emailing. While you're thinking about that, I just want to show you an example of a planner alert because honestly, I think it is so beneficial. So this is an example of an alert where I was monitoring the changes to questions. If you changed the answer to your question, I wanted to be notified. So someone said that they registered, they wanted a large shirt and they uploaded. Oh, how do I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Did you see that? Oh, maybe it's confidential. I'm drawing a blank. So if you see here, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so it's a bit easier to see. I can't zoom in. Maybe we just pass this around. But this is an example of a planner alert where someone registered and I wanted to be notified of any changes to a particular question. You could also pull alerts around failed transactions is a popular one. So someone tries to pay for something and it's failed maybe twice. You get a notification of who's trying and how many times it's failed. Another great example is food things, because with your planner alert, you can have up to 5 recipients. So a lot of planners, what they'll do is ask a food allergen question. I get to a planner alert. So someone says, I'm allergic to shellfish. I get an alert as the planner, but the caterer also gets an alert automatically, and the venue also gets that email.
Ignore that for 2 weeks.
But it gives you the option to do it, which is great. So yeah, those are examples.
Can I just, I don't know if they can see that. I don't know if you can see that. That's what it looks like.
Oh, and another alert that you get is a really cool alert that you cannot forget with Honorable Premium you have, which is the kiosk mode, is a specific person checking in. So like maybe there's a VIP and I want to know when that VIP or your speakers, yeah.
That's unlimited. That's unlimited. Like you don't have, like, it's not 5. It's, we could have 30 speakers.
Yeah. For the speakers, yes.
We get notified that they've.
Should we get an email to say that they've arrived?
Yeah.
Oh,
With Honorable, you can get an email, but with Honorable Premium, you get a text.
What's after text?
an actual text. But that would be cool. But then they also create a text as well. So when they check in, they can also automatically get a text that says, "Hey, Keegan, I see you checked in. I'll be down in 2 seconds." So you get the text, they get the text. It feels as if you're
We
monitoring.
tell them
but-
to go to the,
Oh,
there. You know, the checks.
Is
And
it one
then
generic?
like check.
Yeah, the
You can
chat,
create as many as you like.
every speaker can have its own message.
Yeah, you can attach several to one, or you can.
We don't get their mobile
individuals.
numbers, though, do we?
It's
We
true.
don't need to do that.
Plus we have to work extra hard.
We can add that into the speaker
Yes.
registration.
Mandatory.
For the mandatory field. Yeah.
1,000%.
If producers aren't here, we'll make it their job. Oh, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, they're honestly one of the most beneficial things to use. And to access your planner alerts, it's still in the email dropdown. You're gonna come down into planner alerts. You create them based on categories. So each category will have different options. I'll let you explore them on your own. But like I have categories of payments or sessions or hotel requests, like payments, for example, I can say transaction failed, or let's see what if I have honorable. There it is. So you do have the check-in. So here, registrant checked in, attendee SMS text or message, and checked in planner SMS text message is the one you choose for someone checking in. Alrighty, let's continue through. Let's talk about web links. So in my navigation panel here on the left, this time I'm going to hop into the marketing tab, and in the marketing tab, I have web links. We know what a web link is. I'm not going to explain it. It's a URL. This is where you create them. This is where you'll find all these links. None of them work until the website is live, until you launch the site, because there's technically no site yet until we activate it. But really simple, I'm going to say create link across the top. I would label the link. Maybe this is my speaker reg link. Reference ID again, remember, is the reportable field. So let's say this is the speaker reg, but maybe we have different agents who are registering people. So this is how we do it at Cvent, right? And our Cvent Connect conference, our sales teams, they track how many people they've registered for. Everyone has the same web link, but we add a reference ID of their name. So now when you register as a delegate, it goes back to the marketing team. Keegan has brought Emma. She's one of his registrants. It shows up on our list of how many people we've registered. Well, not me, because I don't, it's not my problem, but that's what sales has to do. So that's an example of how you would use the reference ID. So I'm going to skip that one because I'm not doing that. I'll have it go to a landing page. Registration, first page of registration. I can have it go to the summary page, which is the home page on the website, the FAQ page, if I wanted to. But let's go to summary, to registration. And then here I can associate the registration. So this is where I can say, if you click this link, you're automatically a speaker registration during registration process. If I leave it blank, they get no registration type. So the system will try to assign them a registration type during registration, but they probably won't be assigned one because of the type of logic we're using. And the template is WebLinks assigned logic, right? So it's a really important step for you to take. The next option of a registration path, I would not choose that in your current setup because a registration path, remember, contains several registration types. So we're not saying which type you should have, we're just saying what street you should go down. That will not work on how you have your template created. Okay, so it should be landing page, and then you're choosing the associated registration type. And save. And now you have that web link created. Again, the links don't work until you create or launch the event. That's simple. There's really nothing to web links. Questions about links? Okay, we have one more thing to do then. And that is for me to show you what you can do with invitee management. You'll have your final activity, and then we're finished for today. Let's continue through. I'm going to hop into the attendees tab this time, and I'm going to go into the attendee list. Before we kind of deep dive into the attendee list, I want to call out the difference between the attendee list in Cvent and in the emails dropdown, you have your invitation list. right? So the invitation list is where you would add people if you wanted them to, in registration, where I have that setting, only those on a certain invitation list can register for this event, that privacy setting. So if I wanted to, oh, you weren't here. So for those of us who weren't here, in the registration process, we have the option to gatekeep registration by saying only people on a certain invitation list can register for our registration process, right? And it's here as a registration setting. There we go. Only those on an invitation list or certain lists can register for our event, right? That is one of the main purposes of the invitation list. You gatekeep people who are going to register for your event. And again, that's email invitation list. You can also create a list. Let's say you want to have an invitation list for your speakers, and it automatically assigns everyone on that list the speaker registration time. The attendees list, so an attendees and attendee list is where we take actions on someone's behalf. I'm editing your registration. I am marking you as present. I am changing your agenda. Okay, so that's the actions we would take there. So in the attendee list here, I can see everyone who's been added to or registered for this event. You can see all my tests. Under the view all dropdown, I can just see those who are in accepted status. Maybe I want to see those who are in pending approval status, I can do so. If I wanted to edit people's registration in bulk, so update their agenda in bulk, I can select everyone or select individuals. I'm going to go to the bulk actions dropdown, and I can do things like downloading their badges if I wanted to. Update session registrants allows me to update their agenda in bulk, so I can either register or unregister people for a session in bulk here. So I'll say, why don't we register them all for the Cvent training workshop? It will tell me if there are any conflicts. I have none. And then really important, this misses a lot of people who are doing things, I like to say sneakily. I don't really mean sneakily, but I mean you're editing someone's registration without them being aware. The most important thing to remember is before you confirm each time, it's going to automatically send an email to that delegate. If you don't want them to get that email, just make sure you're paying attention and saying no before you confirm. It automatically is going to say yes each time. So that's how I can update someone's registration in bulk. If I wanted to update someone's registration individually, I'm going to go into that person. So let's update Keegan's registration. So I'm going to click Keegan's name. That brings me into his invitee record. I'm going to go right across to the registration dropdown. And here I have the option to modify registration. That takes us into what we call planner registration mode, where you can do everything as if you were the delegate. It even says planner registration across the top. You can bypass your required rules as well. A lot of planners will quickly register people this way if they don't have all the answers to the required fields. It doesn't require us to answer them in the way the delegates have to. You can just bypass them. You can edit all of their details. I'll say yes. If I can answer the questions, I'll bypass this required field. And then here, I can now change what they have registered for on their agenda. Then on the next page, or the final page where I have my summary and confirmation, I'm going to have that option again to send registration triggered emails. I'm just making sure I'm unticking that because I don't want them to get the email, and I'm going to submit that registration. That's how you modify registrations one by one. It's brought me back into Keegan's record. I'm going to go to the agenda tab. On the agenda tab, I'm going to click edit. Notice I cannot change his agenda here. That's why we do the modify or the bulk session update, right? All I can do is say whether he was a session participant or not. I can see if anyone's registered as part of his group. I can see his feedback questions. If he's answered them, I can even answer them for him. I'll say your rating is a 5 out of 10. There we go. Let's give it excellent. And see. And what's really cool is I can do the same thing for answers. I can change the answers to his registration questions just by clicking edit. I'll say maybe use a large. See? But I'm going to go back to the details tab. And in the details tab, there's this option here that says view history. Note you can mark him as an event participant here as well. But this view history is like a little sleeper FYI best practice. If I go in here, it tells me everything that was done, who did it and when. So for example, I could see that he was registered by an administrator. And if I hover over the information bubble, it tells me everything that was registered. I can see he modified, I can see who modified, I can see what was modified. If you see this, that means a Cvent person did it in the background. If it's just the email, that's the user in your account who would have done that action. Why this is useful is in the agenda, it won't show you historically if they've changed something, but every once in a while you might have someone who shows up and says, hey, actually, for this thing, I should be in this room. The room is at capacity. I can't add you in. It's a really good place to go in and say, well, I can see that you added it, but you removed it on XY date, so I can't add you in kind of thing. It's how planners are actually using this in practice. Okay, let's close out of there. Again, the attendee list is quite self-explanatory. If I click into someone's record as well, notice under the actions dropdown, I can mark participation. I can also import registrations and participation if I wanted to as well. But I'm going to go back into this person's record.
Very quickly, before you continue, so if I change someone's details, Mary's details, her job title, she emails me, can I change my job title?
Yeah.
I do that. If I do send, I have made the change, she'll receive an email saying that that hasn't been changed, specifically what's changed.
Not necessarily. She'll receive the modification confirmation email, and it depends on what's in that email, what tags are in it. I don't know off the top of my head what's in it, to be very honest. But it depends on what's in it. It won't say like, I specifically changed X. It would just give them a normal modification confirmation. Okay. Okay, so that was the attendee list. Other things that I want to cover here is you'll notice that we have abandoned registrations. Anyone who started to register and did not complete registration. I don't have anyone here, but just notice you have this option to automatically send them an email if you create it. So after you're abandoning, you automatically get an email with a link to complete registration.
How far do they have to get from here on that list? Presumably entering their email address.
Yes, we need to identify them. So first name, last name, not first name, last name, but at least the email address, and then it locks in.
First few fields then.
Yeah.
That's information, right?
Yeah. As long as you have the email address, it should be okay.
Question on the attendee list.
Mhm.
How do we add someone who they're probably already in our system, so they attended an event last year? How do we add them? Because the add what is it, add attendee button
Yeah,
looks like you have to put everyone's details in from scratch, but we might already have their,
need this register.
yeah.
So good question. This is where the invitation list might, do you want to add them as a registrant or an invitee for them to then go and register?
It would be like a guest, so they might get a free ticket for some reason.
Okay,
So how should we?
so for that, you have to pull them in from your invitation list. So I'm gonna go to emails and then invitation list. And the reason we pull them in the invitation list is because this is your invitees, right? But this is the only area, as it's for invitees, that you can pull people in from the address book. So I'll go list members, drop down, add from contacts. That takes you to your Cvent address book where you'll see anyone who's been at an event before. And then you just do a search for their name here.
As we don't have an invitee, we don't have an invitation list because we don't have anybody yet.
Yeah, 4 people, but yes. Yeah, you're right. But wait, before I answer that.
Cvent will talk about the next CRM.
Okay.
As we go live, like Gabby, I, and probably a couple from the marketing team are going to work out what basically need from previous years in Cvent in order to do. So
This now makes more sense to me. It's very,
yeah, so the data will sync from CRM, and then we will, I think if I'm right, creating a marketing list in Dynamics creates an invitee list in Cvent automatically.
okay.
So we between us can work out what data we need and then sync it all across.
Okay, and then I guess if there's somebody complimentary going to an event, we could either do like a discount code or something. That, yeah.
Okay, cool. That is everything I wanted to show you. That's everything I wanted to show you in our session today. Let me just double check. No, it's not. So I was here. So attendees, we're talking about the abandoned registrations. Uploaded files is another one. Just know if you ask someone to upload something, it doesn't show on their record. You have to come into the uploaded files area. It downloads as a zip file for you. Now I'm finished with all the actual content I wanted to give you today. We have a little bit of time left in our session. I want to multitask with you guys. I would like to open it up for questions, but I also want to lead the activity. It's just 4 things, so it shouldn't take us too long. We have about 6 minutes left. So what I want to do is split the houses. If you would like to complete this activity, go right ahead and do it. I would like us to end at 5 because I feel like people need to end on time. It's one of my things as a trainer. So while we're doing the activity, if anyone else has any questions that they would like to ask in the interim, feel free to go on ahead and ask them. If you don't have questions, just go ahead and complete the activity that's on the screen.
You know we're doing this tomorrow, but I'm gonna preempt it.
Yes.
You had a download badges button.
Yes.
Is there multiple templates?
You can create them, yeah.
We can create our own templates.
Yeah. Actually, we have Cvent created templates as well.
Okay,
Yeah. So you have both.
so they don't download in. You can download them onto like an A4.
Yes, so how they download it is they will download, so when you create so you have to create a badge first in the event. So download the template into the event, no problem.
Yeah.
The template. Then whatever size that badge is, when you then download it, is the size of the badge, but it's tied to the registration type. So you could have 5 different size badges in the same event and they all download in different sizes. But it lists them on a PDF. And each PDF is one normal sheet.
One person is one PDF.
One PDF page.
I was looking,
Okay, wait, hold on, different answers to that question.
But
So if I had a badge that thin, I tell Cvent that these are the measurements. It will then print off saying Parker Bates, Smithers, and then we'll print regardless. We could use our standard little Canon printer.
Yeah. I'm following.
To print that off as an individual, but each badge is an individual badge. It's not you, me, and Charlene all in one page. So
It will show it all on one sheet of paper. Each person, so two different answers. You can download them one by one, like you can go to my profile and download it, then.
it takes me less than 30 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening?
Download of everyone, each individual have a different.
yes, perfect. Okay, perfect. That's exactly like swap card. Bob too. Eventually.
Sorry, can you did I just leave it as no?
You can. That's
Quite.
People have this.
Olivia had a question.
Yeah.
Olivia had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Olivia.
No, you're good. I just had a quick question about the uploaded files section that you just mentioned. We had talked about recordings and proceedings. Like, I don't know, how much storage do we have in the uploaded files section? Is that where we would put that kind of information, or is that somewhere else?
I have a question before I answer that. When you say you're uploading like stuff, is it the attendee who's uploading it, or do you mean like you're uploading it into the system?
So after the event, we would upload the recording of the presentation and then the slide deck that goes with the presentation. So then the attendees can view it after the event's over.
Got you. Okay, so that is a bit different. I believe it is, I don't wanna lie, I can check it, I don't wanna lie.
Wait, Olivia, because I know
Mhm.
myself and Frank and the young man in China were talking, I forgot his name. The videos, they might be going into a different area if we record the session. Is that,
Okay,
they go into the session area? If we record the presentation with the audio, will they sit inside that session? That people can go back into that session and watch it
On the attendee hub,
on the attendee hub?
pretty much, it doesn't sit in that session, but it creates, when the event is done or that session is done and it's reported, it creates an on-demand page.
Okay.
And you can say, I want this session to appear as on-demand, and then the recording will move on to that.
Onto that, okay, yeah,
So that's the attendee hub, but then also in your account, do you see where I am? So I came into library, and in library, you have your video center. So you can also upload videos into your video center. And in fact, from the attendee hub, they also will automatically show up in your video center as well, up to 15 gigabytes. So you can upload that video per video.
oh, per video, oh, wow, okay, that's huge.
Right, it used to be 5 megabytes. That's why I wanted to check. Because I was like, I used to get a lot of complaints about it being too small.
Right, okay,
But yeah, so you can upload a video in there to the video center, and then you can use the video center to then link it. Attendee hub, Events Plus, that I was showing earlier, if you wanted to make it outside of just the attendee hub.
Okay.
There's a few.
and that upload, I'm going back to what Olivia was saying, the upload, and is that also like the speakers can upload either their PowerPoints or their PDFs
Yeah.
with us via that?
Not like that, but through the speaker resource center.
Is the Speaker Resource Center?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
But it ties into your event anyway, so they upload, for example, a document on the. On the resource center, you upload it, it can then go straight into the session without you having to manually change it. Videos. Is more necessarily, if you want a speaker to make a video, then that's just somewhere, you need to manually to something. But there's no speaker for these words.
That's exactly why he's obviously someone.
Okay.
He's really
That's a lot of information. Does that make sense, Olivia? Were you able to hear that explanation? I just want to make sure.
yes.
I know there's
We
a lot
might
of
need to
talking.
one-off though about how to actually load the session videos and stuff, as Keith mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, you're coming?
Okay, what time? Oh, 5:01. Okay, everyone. So it's 5:01. That brings us to the end of our scheduled time. Before I allow your admins to take back over and end for the day, I wonder if there are any final questions that you guys wanted to ask as a group. It's been great, lovely. In that case, I know we might not have been able to completely finish the activity, but at least you guys were able to hop in. I'm happy to turn back over to your admins in case they have anything that they wanted before they let you on.
Nothing more to say other than see you at the pub. Whoever's coming for dinner, sorry, US team. Unless you can get over in the next hour, in which case I'll buy you a beer. But most people aren't needed first thing in the morning because the 9 AM session is administrator training for 2 hours. So that's my team and Emma.
Yep.
And then I think everyone's coming back in at 11 AM.
Just,
Yeah.
which two o'clock,
It's one, I think.
everyone else,
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
One, yeah,
one.
yeah, one place to go is awesome. I mean, it's the office so long.
Everyone else coming in at one.
All right, thank you guys.
Kagan.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone online.
The speaker, those, they're, file that they want to share with the delegates afterward.
Yeah.
And we need to plan our limits to that.
No, like, wait, hold on. As in you want to.
Well, have you set a reminder
Ahead.
speaker that they can set reminders so a speaker hasn't given us something.
That you can actually really. So in your event, if you turn this. Create tasks for the speakers.
Yeah.
And then on those tasks, we're gonna, you set a deadline. And it will then send them reminders if they've not done it by that deadline.
Oh, excellent.
I feel like, don't quote me on this, but I feel like there's.
Take anything else?
Like, I feel like someone created a way to get similar to what. Anyway,
Someone's always gonna figure out a workaround.
yeah,
There's
always a world.
I think I can do that.
Cause I've heard that, I'm not sure if one said, oh,
That's all right.
but anyways, I would list up the tasks
Box,
and then,
biscuit box. Isn't it? It's a wire.
oh, here's the two. I'll give it a date, like it require it, and then it will send them reminders. They've actually done it. But we'll talk about it when we go to my things, but you can log in.
So we can set up speaker reminders to send us their slot we want to do things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we'll keep reminding them to do it.
That's all.
There's always a thing. I think, yeah, see, task reminder, single task reminder, the email's already there. So you will just need to make sure this email is active. Yeah, it should go to them. It says manual, but I feel like we've done it. So there's a workaround on it. We'll figure it out. I won't think about it today, but I know that there's ways to automate it.
Can you help me with anything?
Yeah, you
You're
need,
good. I'm gonna put those biscuits in a box.
Oh, this is how you do it. So you would have to create a new email. Literally exactly what I said. I was in emails and I forgot myself. So if you create a new email,
Stuff that you
under
thought.
the send settings, you can have it scheduled to keep going at certain dates, so you can just duplicate them. And it will then only go
According
into
to my
my
calendar, you will have a million task.
okay. And,
Sorry.
sorry,
Leave this.